If you think the worst investor in the world is the person who lost $1 million, you are wrong. The worst investor in the world is the person who made $1 million. Strangely enough, some of the best investors in the world aren't afraid of making a small initial loss. They're terrified of a massive early win. In fact, there is a decision that could be completely stupid, yet the market rewards you for it. And another decision that could be brilliant, yet the market punishes you for it. And if you believe that the market always rewards the smart and punishes the foolish, you are about to discover the most expensive lesson in the world of investing. Imagine two cats living in the same neighborhood. The first cat, Luna, invested her very first $20 and lost every single cent. She was hurt, she was furious, but then she sat down, read, learned, asked questions, and realized just how much she didn't know about this world. The second cat is McFlurry, a cat who has never opened an economics book in his life and doesn't know the difference between a share of stock and a can of tuna. One day, McFlurry decided to dump all his savings into a random stock simply because he liked the shape of the chart. And suddenly, boom! The stock skyrockets to the moon. McFlurry wakes up to find a cool $1 million net profit in his account on his very first attempt. Now, the crowd is cheering, the neighborhood cats are dancing, and McFlurry is wearing sunglasses, a heavy gold chain, shoving premium tuna between his teeth, and screaming, "I'm a financial genius! Warren Buffett who? Wall Street is in the palm of my paws."
We're buying mansions! Free tuna for everyone!
And just like that, he became an expert. A week later, a market analyst. 2 weeks later, he was teaching other cats how to invest. And a month later, he was selling a course titled, "How I Mastered the Stock Market." The problem isn't that McFlurry made $1 million. The problem is that he learned the wrong lesson from this trade. Before you say, "I wish I were in McFlurry's shoes," be careful what you wish for. Why is this person considered the worst investor? Because the financial market has a terrifying way of taking revenge. The market doesn't always punish you when you make a mistake. Sometimes, and this is the terrifying part, it rewards you. Luna, who lost $20 at the start, got a small reality check that woke her up early. She learned that the market isn't a place for daydreaming, so she began to understand risk management, investing with a cold head, and risking only a tiny fraction of her money each time. McFlurry, on the other hand, fell into one of the most dangerous psychological traps in investing. The market never tells you why you won. It only gives you the result. And if the result is pretty, your brain starts inventing a pretty story to go with it. I'm gifted. I'm built different. I understand the market. When the reality might be much simpler. You were just lucky. Even Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history, can't tell you what the market will do tomorrow. Yet, you will always find someone who opened a trading account 3 weeks ago saying with full confidence, "I know exactly what's going to happen on Monday." Investors sometimes call this phenomenon beginner's luck. But the problem isn't the luck itself. The problem is what that luck does to your brain. Even worse, the market sometimes reinforces this illusion. Imagine answering an exam question purely on a gut feeling and getting it right by accident. Does that mean your method was brilliant? Of course not. But if that happened 2 or 3 times, you might stop studying altogether. And that is precisely what happens to many investors. They don't learn from their decisions. They only learn from their results. Here lies the true tragedy. McFlurry's next trade won't be $1,000. It's going to be the entire million, plus extra money he borrowed on top, because he knows the game now, right? And the second time around, luck doesn't repeat itself. No one has ever escaped this trap. And if you think this only happens to beginners, you are wrong. The history of financial markets is full of McFlurries. There was a man considered one of the smartest human beings to ever walk the earth, named Isaac Newton, the very man who discovered gravity. In 1720, he invested in a company called the South Sea Company, sold his shares early, and doubled his money. But the stock kept climbing higher and higher, and everyone around him was making millions. Newton couldn't stand being left behind, so he bought back in at a much higher price. Shortly after, the stock completely collapsed. Newton lost an amount equivalent to over $3 million in today's money, and uttered his famous quote, "I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people." Even the smartest mind in history wasn't ruined by ignorance. He was fooled by his first success. Behavioral economists call this trap overconfidence bias. When you begin to vastly overestimate your knowledge and ability simply because you got a good result once or twice. And for this reason, professional investors say that the best thing that can happen to you at the start of your journey isn't getting rich quick, but making a small mistake and learning from it before your mistakes cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. A small loss usually kills your ego, but a massive win can kill your curiosity. And when you stop learning and start believing you know everything, the market doesn't even need to defeat you, because you will handle that job all by yourself. You become your own worst investor. A smart cat isn't afraid of a first loss. A smart cat is terrified of an easy first victory. Subscribe to the channel and stay a smart cat.